Have you ever thought about how buildings are made? Well, today, we're going to look at one of the most incredible places on the entire planet, Biete Ghiorgis. It's a church in Ethiopia, and to really get how special it is, we first have to think about how things are normally built.
You know, most of the time when we build something, we're adding things together. We stack up bricks, we put up walls, piece by piece, and then we add a roof on top. We're starting from the ground and building, well, up. But the church we're talking about today is completely the opposite. It wasn't built up at all. Instead, the builders started with a giant piece of solid rock and they carved down, taking away stone until this amazing building just appeared.
And here it is. This is Biete Ghiorgis, which means the Church of St. George in a town called Lalibela in Ethiopia. It's a true masterpiece. You could say it wasn't really built, but was set free from one single giant piece of rock.
This incredible method is called monolithic architecture. And all that really means is that the whole building, the roof, the floor, the walls, even the windows, is all one big piece of stone. It's still connected to the very ground it was carved from.
So, the story of this amazing project starts a very long time ago, way back in the 12th century. And it all begins with a king named Lalibela, who had a really big idea for his people.
See, back then, it was very dangerous and hard for Christians in Ethiopia to travel all the way to the city of Jerusalem. So King Lalibela came up with a bold solution. If his people couldn't go to Jerusalem, then he would bring Jerusalem to them by building a new Jerusalem right there in Ethiopia.
Now, the history of this place is incredible, but the legends about how it was made are just as important. The church is so large and so perfectly made that for centuries, people believed it couldn't have been made by human hands alone. One story goes that after all the other churches in the town were finished, St. George, who is a very important saint in Ethiopia, appeared to the king. He was a little sad that there wasn't a church dedicated to him. So King Lalibela promised he would build one more church, and it would be the most beautiful of all.
There's also this really popular story that explains how all this work got done so quickly. It says that every single night, angels would come down from heaven, they'd pick up the workers' tools, and do double the amount of carving that the people had done all day.
The stories are amazing, for sure, but the real way Biete Ghiorgis was built is, honestly, just as incredible. So let's take a look at how they actually carved an entire church right out of the ground.
It really all started with finding the perfect kind of rock. The church is carved from something called volcanic tuff. This rock is really special. When it's still in the ground, it's pretty soft and easy to carve with simple tools. But as soon as it's exposed to the air, it gets hard and strong. Pretty cool, right? The builders used a super smart top-down method. Okay, so first, they drew that famous cross shape on the surface of the ground. Then, they started digging a deep ditch or trench all the way around the shape. That left a giant block of stone in the middle. As they dug down, they carved the outside of the church, starting with the roof. And last, they carved their way inside to create all the rooms.
And just to give you an idea of how much work this was, think about this. Just to create the open courtyard around the church, workers had to remove 3,400 cubic meters of rock. And they did all of this by hand with really simple tools. That is a massive amount of work.
So when we look at this amazing church, there are a few key things to remember. It has that perfect shape of a Greek cross. It's made from that special volcanic tuff, and it's about 12 meters or 40 feet tall. And all of that was carved from a single stone. For over 800 years, this incredible church has stood as a special place of faith and an amazing piece of architecture. But today, this treasure is facing some new and very serious dangers.
The church was built way back around the year 1200. Much, much later, in 1978, it was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which means it's recognized as being important to the whole world. But now, it's facing some big problems that threaten its future.
The biggest danger is actually water. Rain soaks into the volcanic rock, and that can cause it to crack and crumble. And sadly, recent fighting in the area has also caused problems, making it hard for people to visit and bring in money to help protect the church.
You see, Biete Ghiorgis is so much more than just a building. It's a symbol of deep faith. It's like a prayer that was carefully and beautifully carved right into the stone of Ethiopia. The very thing that makes this church so unique, the fact that it is a part of the earth, also makes it vulnerable. The same ground it came from now threatens it.
It really makes you think about how important it is to protect such a special treasure, a true world wonder that wasn't built on the earth, but carved from within it.